Journey to the Stars at Griffith Observatory. Learn how to drift a car like the pros and get some exercise with paddle surfing. All this and more on tonight's episode of Sunset Stripped. Hey, I'm Minnie.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome to the newest edition of Sunset Stripped, where we'll show you some of LA's hidden treasures, or even get away from the traffic and get some peace and quiet.
In LA? Yeah, that's funny.
What is?
Well, the part where you said that you can go somewhere peaceful and quiet in LA.
It's true.
Okay, it's not funny anymore.
I'm not trying to be funny. Can you please just read your next line?
Okay. Have you ever wondered how to careen your car at dangerously high velocities? Sideways? Oh, of course, we all have. At Drift Association, you'll learn from professional drivers how to maneuver your car like the pros. Check this out.
Less than a decade old, drifting is now the fastest growing motorsport in North America today. The Weekend Warriors. Stunt drivers, automotive enthusiasts, and pro drivers all gather together at various venues throughout the nation to learn, practice, and teach the art of drifting. Today, we take a look at one of those events.
What is drifting? Controlled sideways is probably the best way to say it. As far as how it originated, my answer is it's been around forever, ever since the invention of the automobile. If you ask anybody who's a certain age, your grandpa, they'll tell you, man, we've been doing this for years, Well, Drift Association is essentially an organization that we host our Drift Day program. We recently started our Drift 101 program. At the same time, we've helped other organizations host legitimate drifting events throughout the country, essentially. How long has Drift Association been around? Been around for about 8 years now. Our goal was to keep it off the streets and actually provide a safe venue for everybody to do it, essentially.
I heard about Drift 101 through the internet and through my friends. They actually talked about Drift a Day, and then I went to one and they had a Drift 101 student. She was a girl, so it really inspired me to want to do it myself.
As far as the process goes to do Drift 101, you sign up, pay your fee. We come out to a venue like the one that we're at here in the National Orange Show Center. Basically, we don't really do a whole lot of a classroom session. What we end up doing is just saying, come out, get you behind the wheel, kind of teach you the basics as far as throttle control, steering response, and then we get you out to start doing donuts, left-hand donuts, right-hand donuts, and then the ultimate goal at the end of the day is for you to master the figure eights.
Well, Drift 101 and Drift 102 is one of the basic classes that Drift Day Drift Association offers, along with Drift Pro. You can learn all the basic maneuvers of how to start drifting and how to initiate drift through those two classes.
You just want to have a really decent car, open mind, and go out there and have a good time. Well, if you wanted to sign up for our program, our Drift 101 program, go to our website, it's driftday.com, and there's information there as to how to sign up. Get in contact with me, we'll send you an application to fill out. We do it all year long. It's for anybody. You've seen the movies, you've seen Formula Drift, here's your opportunity to give it a try. Well, we have some great instructors. Taka Ono is lead instructor. He's the one who helped create the foundation for our school. He's not only an instructor for 101, but he's also in charge of our Drift 102 program as well.
You're going to see a lot of people like you, like me, just normal people who have this passion for driving, go out there and give it all they got.
That's nothing. I was doing those kinds of stunts back in high school. Of course, back then I was seen a little bit more responsible.
If spending more time in your car than you already do on the 405 doesn't suit you, try the relaxation of hiking through the hills of Los Angeles. ModernHiker.com shows you the best places to get away from the city. Hiking in Los Angeles is more than just getting on the Big Blue and taking it to the Beverly. ModernHiker.com, LA's premier hiking blog, takes us out of the city and onto the trailhead, and it's closer than you think.
ModernHiker.com started out, I would just every once in a while I started kind of going hiking and would just write up a description of the hike. And I noticed that there was nothing really on the web for hiking in LA. So I figured, what the hell, I'll throw the $10 down on a domain name, I'll grab it. People have been doing hiking for thousands of years without any technology at all. So you don't need it to do it. For people who are just starting out, I guess it kind of depends on their fitness level. If they basically sit on a couch all day and don't really do anything, I would go for a sort of mild hike, something like Fryman Canyon in Studio City, where it's not too tough, but you still kind of get the feeling that you're in nature and you get some nice views. If you're at all moderately active, one of my first hikes was Sandstone Peak out north of Malibu. It's one of the few hikes that I will go on repeatedly over and over and over again. As far as weather and hiking out in LA, you really can't do any better than this. You can hike in jeans and a t-shirt, but if you want to step it up and you want to make a huge difference in your ability to hike, you need to buy the right gear and know what's out there. Generally, hiking is a very, very, very safe activity. And if you go with someone else, if you take a first aid kit, you're going to be okay 99% of the time. People here overplay the dangers of mountain lions, they overplay the dangers of rattlesnakes. That stuff is out there. It can hurt you. Chances are you're not going to get hurt. I think most people don't go hiking here because of a combination of lack of knowledge. LA is not known for hiking. LA is known for celebrities and beaches and surfing and good weather, not necessarily hiking. I certainly never associated hiking with LA. All the miserable parts of a city can really add up. But to know that you can just hop in your car for 35 minutes and be the only person around for a 5-mile radius is an immensely comforting and rewarding piece of knowledge. And there's also a sense of reward of being at the bottom of a mountain and looking at the top of it and knowing that in 6 or 7 hours you'll be up there and you'll be looking back down at the trailhead and maybe you'll be able to see your car is kind of an immense feat for a person to do. And in the workaday activities of Los Angeles life, where your basic triumph is not getting into an accident on your way home from work, climbing a mountain is a pretty cool thing.
While you're in the mountains, you might want to stop by the Griffith Observatory's telescope and take a look at the stars. More people have looked at this telescope than any other in the world, which means this lens has helped people see more stars than any paparazzi alive. Griffith Observatory is a landmark of Los Angeles, an international leader in public astronomy, and one of Southern California's most popular attractions.
My name's Clark Wyant. I've been a museum guide here for about 3 years, and my job is to talk to patrons and show people around the museum and answer questions. The observatory has always been here for the public use. A small amount of research has been done here just purely on the side by the telescope operators, but the reason this building is here is for the general public of the city of LA to come up and look through a real telescope at the real planets and the real stars. Not just pictures in books that have been reproduced or enhanced, but the real astronomy. Some of the more popular exhibits we have, kind of the centerpiece for the observatory, is right up front we have a Foucault's pendulum. That's the original way they could prove the Earth was moving. It doesn't feel like we're moving, but this swinging pendulum knocking over pegs is the first way they could show that. There's telescope exhibits. The main telescope at the observatory has been here since 1935, and more people have looked through that telescope than any telescope throughout history. It's the most popular telescope around. And it's a pretty nice telescope. It's 9,000 pounds, but you can swing it around with just a finger because it's so well balanced. So we have 2 theaters here at the observatory. Our main attraction is our planetarium theater. It has been updated, brand new, most advanced planetarium projector in the world at the moment, and 3 shows that are running. One of them talks about the search for water and the search for life out there, which we use for the school programs. Another one is where we are in our universe and how throughout history our idea of where we are has changed from us being the center of everything all the way to there is no center to the universe. We're just one of many things drifting along. The last show, which is the most recent one, is First Light and talks about telescopes and how when Galileo used telescopes with astronomy, which he was the first person to do, it really revolutionized everything. It allowed him to see things that nobody knew were there and give him some ideas that nobody had thought of before. The great thing about that show is that it doesn't just show you general star motions with a standard star projector, it shows you whatever you would see that night. So you'd be able to walk out of that show, look up at the sky and start pointing out stars to your friends and family and planets and things like that. The observatory is here for the people. It's again not research. We're open every day of the week except for Mondays. closed on Mondays. We're open until 10 o'clock at night. It's a free admission to the museum. We do charge for the planetarium, but everything else, including the telescopes, are free of charge. And we encourage people to come up here. It's an interesting museum, I think, but at the very least, it's a beautiful view of the city of Los Angeles. You know, there's cloudy nights, but on a clear day, you can see the Southern Ocean down past Long Beach and all the way to the west past Malibu, as well as the mountains above Pasadena, where Mount Wilson's still doing astronomy research today. So we encourage people to come up. It's a cheap date, but it's a pretty romantic one. So.
Now, stars are great, but I prefer the kind that you can touch. IO West is an improv theater in the heart of Hollywood. With shows going on every night, you'll be sure to catch the next comedic star on the rise. Check this out.
For over 25 years, IO West has been providing laughs and training some of the biggest comedy stars.
What we do at IO West is improv comedy, where we get a suggestion from the audience and offer that suggestion, and it inspires a group of people to work together to create characters and relationships. Well, what makes IO different from other clubs is the Laugh Factory is stand-up. So those are primarily where there's one person on stage doing material that they've already created. At IO, we have people that are creating material based on the suggestion from the audience, so you're part of the whole process. So it's a much more interactive, exciting kind of venue to go to. The roots of IO started back in Chicago over 25 years ago. There's an IO theater in Chicago. And we are the West Coast branch. Originally, Charna Halpern had a theater that was more game-orientated, short-form kind of improvisation, like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Del Close is a guru of improvisation. He's one of the original Second City members back when it was a Compass. And he had a long-form improvisation, which was more scenically based, and they married the two forms together to create the Herald, which is what we do at IO West. You know, Del Close always said that this is a theater of the heart, where we take care of each other on stage, and you really get that idea of the great community that's here at IO West. People really are nice, and our main motto is be good or be gone.
Stars like Tina Fey and Mike Myers have trained at IO West, but classes are open for everyone.
We have a training center that is a 7-level program of improvisation, people that are training that are actors, writers, all different kinds of people, people who just want to get better speaking skills. There's a wide variety of things that we train in here. Some of our alumni, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, Mike Myers, Chris Farley, Andy Richter, Andy Dick.
This summer, you get a chance to meet these famous alumni and take part in some exciting workshops.
This year will be the 8th annual Los Angeles Improv Comedy Festival, June 7th through the 12th. Every year we have a lot of our celebrity alumni come back. We have people from The Office come back, people from Modern Family coming this year. We have over 50 workshops. So it's a week-long event of workshops and shows, and it showcases the best talent from across the country. One of the things that we try to do with the festival is to give back to the community, and we have had Project Angel Food as our beneficiary for the last 7 years, and they'll be again this year. The festival is a great time of getting to give back to the community and having a lot of people see the great things that happen at IO West. Ultimately, I want people to walk away from IO West with a sense of what a great community is and want to get involved.
IO West is just one of those places that will have you in stitches and will only leave you wanting more.
While you're in Hollywood, you might want to check out some new threads.
Sewing? Sounds really interesting, Minnie.
No, clothes. Check out some new clothes. For those yearning to get a taste of a different era, La Marca del Diablo sells everything rockabilly. Let's take a look.
Rockabilly has influenced a lifestyle trend that has lasted over half a century. With a unique line of clothing and accessories, La Marca del Diablo exposes the rockabilly style in the heart of Hollywood.
Rockabilly started off in the 1950s with rock and roll, Elvis, and then it came up into this rebirth nowadays. It's called rockabilly, so rock and roll kind of meets like a country western, sort of hillbilly, fast cars, motorcycles, 1950 Mercury, beautiful, restored, Betty Page and Marilyn Monroe sort of looking women, mechanic shirts, regular t-shirts, shirts, they usually roll up the sleeves, put a pack of cigarettes in there. And if you think of the movie Cry Baby with Johnny Depp or Grease, that's a really that would be a rockabilly look.
La Marca del Diablo, or the Mark of the Devil, carries an exclusive Mexican icon-influenced clothing line, hard to find anywhere else in the city.
The clothing line is all rockabilly and greaser influenced. I think I incorporate Mexican designs into the clothes to make it more universal. A lot of the designs are universal themselves and not just in one nation. You know, people might think, oh Lord, no, let's stay away. But I think in our day and age, it's kind of an aggressive sort of society that we live in. You know, if you want something, you go for it. I chose to have a rockabilly store because the clothing line is just very dark and rough and tumble, and that's kind of the person that I am.
Since its notable popularity revival in the 1980s, the rockabilly subculture has evolved through the times.
I would say rockabilly today is darker than the 1950s because of the influence of the punk scene. I think that punk is a very hardcore scene, and a lot of people that listen to, you know, rock and roll, rockabilly, also listen to punk. Scene influences, I would say rock and roll definitely, so, you know, Brian Setzer, maybe Stray Cats, and then you go all the way into punk. Which is an interesting, you get like a crossover into psychobilly, which is a cross between rockabilly and punk, and like a little bit of hard drum beat. Influences as far as music go, Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, you know, with the glasses and the whole look, the real big pompadours. People should come to our store to take a look at something edgy and new and to get some great ideas on, you know, a darker, badder side of life that would definitely appeal to them. You know, brass knuckles and some guns and some fast cars and grease. It's great.
When I think of rockabilly, I immediately think of stand-up paddle surfing. So if you're looking to get in shape and learn one of the fastest growing water sports ever, check this out. It gives a whole new meaning to Surf's Up.
When Malibu waves ceased to exist in the summer of 2002, a new form of surfing emerged: stand-up paddleboarding. Matt Shubin gives us some insight into this rapidly growing sport.
California is a great stand-up paddle destination because a lot of time there's not a lot of waves. Stand-up paddling is just a great sport to have in the arsenal, to enjoy the water, enjoy the waves when it's maybe less ideal. Great times and great sessions going out, stand-up paddling, one-foot surf. Well, the history of stand-up paddleboarding originally started in Hawaii, and people have been doing it for a long time. Laird Hamilton, a local of the Hawaiian Islands, makes his summer home here in Malibu and started stand-up paddling in the summer and doing things that no human thought was possible on a stand-up paddleboard. People started doing it here in Malibu, and it's caught on real quick, and it's definitely one of the fastest growing sports. I originally got started and hooked into stand-up paddleboarding during a summer we had here in Malibu when there was no way, it's all summer. It was, man, it was kind of really depressing if you're a surfer, and that was actually really the year where stand-up paddling really took off here in Malibu. My brother got me out there, and I was hooked. There's just so many just awesome elements of stand-up paddling that make it really intriguing and make me feel like a kid again. You know, I felt like I was 10 years old, learning to surf all over again, and just having that feeling of a new sport. The different benefits of stand-up paddleboarding vary. It's a great workout, one that you want to do consistently. I say there's a social element to stand-up paddleboarding, which makes it really attractive, the ability to communicate and socialize with a group of people, almost like going on a hike. And it's just a great way to get out in the water, and that's really challenging and makes flat water ocean into a fun sporting event. The best way to get started in the sport of stand-up paddleboarding, I'd say, would be to take a lesson. It's important to get some tips out there, learn the etiquette, learn how to not hurt oneself. It's a big board, and learning how to manage that board is a big part of the sport. The equipment needed to stand-up paddleboard would be obviously a stand-up paddleboard. Someone will need a surfboard leash and a paddle. Once you've caught a wave stand-up paddleboarding, just time to enjoy. My brother and I started our stand-up paddling company, Side and Stand Up, just out of a need to try to get people plugged in with the right equipment and boards in areas where maybe they didn't have a local surf shop. Kind of a really fun business because it's something that we're passionate about, something that we do every day. And we get to go out there and test out all the equipment, and it's a pretty tough job.
Well, I'm going to have to take some of those lessons. I really need to tone my body.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but
Wow.
I'm just kidding. You know what? That's a rude way to end the show. Minnie, you're gorgeous. You know it. Just jealous. Anyway, we reached the end of another episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Matt.
And I'm Minnie. We'll see you here next time on Sunset Strip.
Take care.